I love this time of year. A brand new year is upon us. Every possibility exists. A new beginning is on the horizon. But a new beginning has nothing to do with time of year, really. It's just that it happens to be that time when most of us take stock of our year as we start to plan our new year. But a new beginning is a decision. It's not dependent on calendar. But since we are here at the end of the year, we might as well take this time to look at our upcoming year and design our life. Let's talk about how to have the best year ever, shall we? So get a pen and paper, settle in, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Hi, my name is Jessica. Welcome to the channel. If you are new here, you are very welcome. We talk all things money. Consider subscribing if you haven't done so already. I upload a new video every Thursday and I share my own journey to financial independence with you. Let's plan to have the best 2022 and the best decade ahead. So get that pen and paper and let's get started. I'm going to show you what I do personally. I've been writing goals since I was about 21 years old. So I feel like I have achieved a level of personal mastery enough to share it with you, and I hope it'll be of help to you. Let's begin with a couple of questions. This is my process. I always ask myself these two questions. So write down these two questions and then I will show you what I do after that. So the first question you want to ask yourself is, where do I want to be in 10 years? On top of the page, write down today's date. Be precise. Write down the month, the date, and the year. And then as you start to answer that question, put in the date that's 10 years from the time you're doing this exercise. So if you're doing this on December 30th, 2021, and then write down at the bottom of that December 30th, 2031. I know it looks like and it sounds like a long time away, but 10 years go faster than you think. So be precise, ask yourself, where do you want to be 10 years from now? And the way to break it down and to make it manageable in your mind is to ask yourself, what do you want to be doing 10 years from now? Use the be, do, have approach. Who do you want to be? What do you want to do? What do you want to have? That's an easier way to break it down in your own mind, especially when we're talking about such a long period of time. It tends to be a little bit disconnected. It tends to be a little bit difficult on how to project yourself 10 years into the future. But if you just imagine yourself 10 years from now, imagine sitting wherever you want to be sitting. Where do you want to be? Where do you want to be sitting 10 years from now? Who do you want to be with? Who do you want to be surrounded by? And how do you want to feel 10 years from now? How do you want to be feeling? And so take that approach. So you're really designing your life 10 years from now. So that's the first step. Too many people take a one-year approach. I think culturally, we've been sort of brainwashed to do these New Year resolutions that are very, very short term. They take 12-month approach. And we often overestimate what we can do in 12 months or a year, and we underestimate what we can do in 5 years or 10 years. That's why it's really important for you to take a 10-year approach. Besides, your life is not doled out into 12-month chunks. That's an entirely man-made thing. So think long-term and create a vision for your life. That's essentially what you're doing when you're thinking in long-term chunks. When you're thinking in 10-year chunks, you are actually creating a vision for your life. What it does then is it helps you understand. Once you have that vision written down, I encourage you to take your time, take a couple of days at least, ponder it, think about who do you want to be. And when you do that, when you have that vision on paper, then the next question there, basically part 2 of the same question, you will want to ask yourself, who do you need to become to be that person you just wrote down? So the person who will be all of those things, the person who will do all of those things, the person who will have all of those things that you just wrote down for yourself. Who do you need to become? Who do you need to embody to be that person who will live that life of your vision, live that life of your dreams? So that's step number 1, question number 1. Where do you want to be in 10 years? Question number 2 is exactly the same except a year from now. Again, on another page, write down the date year from now. So on December 30th, or whatever date you happen to be doing this, and let's say you're doing this on December 30th, as we talked previously. So December 30th, a year from now, what do you have to do? Who do you have to be? What do you have to accomplish so that the future you will be satisfied? What will it take when you're sitting down a year from now? What will have to happen for you to feel happy and satisfied with your year? Where you feel accomplished, you feel happy, you feel satisfied, you feel like, it's been a good year. Good job. What will have to happen in order for you to feel that? If you noticed that I'm using the word feel a lot, you are correct. Focus on the word feel. Feeling is not this soft, fluffy, airy-fairy kind of a thing that a lot of us tend to believe sometimes, especially culturally. That's what's instilled in us. Feeling is actually everything. Feeling means a year from now or 10 years from now, whatever chunk of time you are setting your goals for, how do you want to feel? Do you want to feel confident? Do you want to feel comfortable in your own skin? Do you want to feel that you no longer need somebody else's approval? Do you want to feel financially healthy? Do you want to feel that your future is within your control? Do you want to feel that you've got a good handle in life? Do you want to feel loved? Do you want to feel connected? Do you want to feel cared for? All of those are pretty hardcore, strong things that you need in your life. They're not this airy-fairy feeling type of thing that most people tend to think of when they think of the word feeling. So really focus on exactly how do you want to feel, because your happiness, your satisfaction, your joy, your fulfillment comes from that feeling. So focus on how do you want to feel. Of course, all of the trappings of success go along with it. That's almost a side effect. So yes, write down the things that you want to accomplish, but really focus on feeling, because that will give you the biggest bang for your buck. Once you've answered those two questions, now you have your vision and you have your goals. Your vision came from your 10-year question, and your goals came from your 12-month or 1-year question. And this is how you live by design rather than by default. Now, I mentioned to you earlier, I've kept a notebook for many, many, many years. I still have that. I still use it actually. And it's just a beautiful notebook, and I dedicated it to my goals. I can look back 10 years ago or 15 years ago or even 20 years ago, and I kept my goals pretty simple, and I can see my own evolution. I can see what I considered to be important 20 years ago when I was writing my goals, because I can tell just based on my goals, and I can tell where my head was at, and then how it has evolved. My goals have gotten fewer in numbers, but more meaningful to me. So that is a beautiful thing, I think. Your life is worth recording in that sense, where you can go back and really look at your own evolution, really look at your own growth and the person that you've become over the years. And it sneaks up on you. I mean, it's, you don't necessarily always notice your own growth, but when you look back year after year, you start to definitely notice how much you've grown. And that's an incredible gift that you can give to yourself. And what I wanted to show you today also was that last year I started a slightly different practice. So I've always kept, as I mentioned, my goals in a journal. Sometimes I kind of drew them, doodled them, or I can just write them in a list format. Last year, I had a little bit extra time, as all of us had a little bit extra time last year or so. I decided to do a vision book. You may have heard some people do vision boards, but I decided to do a vision book because with vision boards, I find that you have to change them year after year. So whatever you had previously is sort of gone into garbage, or it's discarded, and then you start afresh. I believe in keeping my goals. I want to look at them years from now. So I started a vision book. So I just purchased a sketchbook, really. This is what it looks like. So it's just got, all the pages are sort of like this, blank pages. And I created it by cutting things from magazines online magazines really, and or just Googling certain images and printing them in color format, and then just with a glue stick gluing it onto the page of major categories of my life that I wanted to set goals in. So the first page, I'll just show you the first page here. This is kind of what it looks like. So I did that for 2021. These are just cutouts. They're just printed and glued on. And then I took each major area of my life. Maybe I'll show you one. Maybe I'll just show you half of my health page. So this is kind of what my health page looks like. And these are the images that I found inspiring. And that's the thing, it's personal, whatever speaks to you. And these are some of the things that I wanted to do more. So I wanted to make sure that I have a lot of energy. So just this weightless person, being like a child, doing jumping jacks and flips and things like that. I just found that really energizing and inspiring. And then I wanted to focus a little bit more on yoga, and wanted to make sure that I was more consistent with my running. And then just an affirmation, really, I love my body. Now, this has less to do with flat abs than it has to do with me eating healthy, because I know when I eat certain things, they make me feel uncomfortable in my stomach, or make me feel bloated. Sorry for too much information, but it's just, that's the image that brought all of that home for me. So when I look at that image, I know that I have to eat healthy, eat more vegetables and things like that. So, and then just some words that really are inspiring to me, like having zest for life, for example, and vibrant, and some of those words I've got all over this book. So I only filled like 6 or 7 of these double pages because I put one page. How can I show you? Let's see here. I dedicated this. Let's balance this. So I dedicated these 2-page sections to each area of my life that I wanted to work on. So I've got one for health, I've got one for travel, I've got one for finances, I got one for relationships, and then I do have one for, sometimes I tend to call it frivolous, but the things that I wanted to buy. There are a couple of things that I wanted to buy in terms of my wardrobe. I tend to be a minimalist, and I buy very, very few things, but high quality things. So they tend to be high ticket items. So I'm very conscious of what I buy, what I bring into my life. And so when I do want to bring things, I want to make sure that it's the perfect thing, it's the right thing, and then I buy it at the right time. So I tend to have a page for that as well. It's just another thing that's motivating to me. So anyways, so if you haven't done this, give this a try actually. So I'm going to do this again this year. A lot of the things I can almost copy and paste because some of those like health things don't change, but I've made a lot of progress in that area. So I might choose some different images, but I definitely plan to do that for 2022 as well. So we'll see how it goes. I still have a list. So on page 1 of this book, I still wrote down my list of goals, which I've done for many, many years. But I just added the visuals, and I thought that was a nice way to visualize where I want to be. So it's just a different idea. If you are inspired to do something different this year for your goals, that's definitely a great way. I mean, you can do an electronic version of that as well, but I'm just a sucker for physical notebooks and just the physical things when it comes to journaling or goal setting. I like to take a look at it, and I like to touch and feel the notebook, and that just works for me. And that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you found it valuable, please share it and hit that like button. Everything that you do to interact with this video helps me greatly. It doesn't cost you anything. So I always appreciate your comments. I always appreciate your likes and your shares. Please continue to do that. And most importantly, don't forget to tell me in the comments below, what are your goals for 2022 or for the next year, whenever you happen to be watching this? And what's your practice? If you have a specific practice or a ritual to visualize, to set goals, and to set yourself up for a great year. Don't forget to share that in the comments below. All of us can learn from your comments. And thanks again for watching. I will see you in the next video. Thanks.